All right, a lot of fire from Darby Allin last night, Tommy. But again, what I got out of that is nothing after what he said. It's what he said about the EVPs. And you didn't have to throw the line out there about, and I'm not talking about Kenny Omega. You could have made it about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's still with AEW. Kenny Omega's a babyface. He's out right now, but the fans love Kenny Omega. You could have gotten an arena of people chanting Kenny Omega's name. Why did you make it about Cody Rhodes? I can't believe I'm on a Thursday morning, Tommy. I'm talking about Cody Rhodes after watching Dynamite because he was referenced by Darby Allin, and then you had an AEW crowd chanting Cody's name. I don't know why you would go there, Tommy. I really don't.
Well, he's telling a truthful story. And sometimes it's okay in the world of pro wrestling to change your real story, but if you really do think about it, he could have changed it with one name, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
All he had to do was thank God I had a boss who believed in me. And then the fans would have chanted Tony instead of Cody. Or straight up say a boss that believed in me and that guy's name is Tony Khan. Because honestly, as everybody who, works in that company, and all the EVPs and all the, from Kenny from the original thing, none of that could have happened without Tony Khan's money. And he deserves that praise. And for whenever there's negativity towards the company, he has to take that on the chin. But if you want to build a building cheering somebody who really did start that revolution, it would be Tony. You're talking about someone who was part of a wrestling revolution. You're talking to someone who would take shots at both WWE and WCW. And yes, it was different, but I always knew I had the people to chant what? Three letters, ECW. If I had to say something, I would direct it towards Paul because Paul was my voice and was my boss. But then I also, like everyone knew, the heart and soul of ECW, I could put it on my own shoulders. But like, I mean, I remember specific promos like, Mick Foley cut all his classic promos about, leaving this shithole basically called ECW to go to other places, but they don't want him. Like, I mean, there's classic promos, but I would be like, hey, they've called me too, and I would hang up. And I wouldn't say WCW. I wouldn't say, but you know what? One of my favorite moments ever was when Mick Foley was beating the crap out of me. He was telling me to beat me up, and like fire up. And he took off his shirt and he started doing a WCW chant. And he had WCF and W shirt. And he started doing like a WCW chant. And the people are booing him out of the building. And then another time he had the Faces of Fear shirt on. And that's what really triggered me to kick his ass because I was like, no, you didn't. And he's straight up showing the Faces of Fear, and he starts bleeding through this white shirt because I was the guy for the company. And if
Yep.
you want to be that guy for that company, put over the guy who really did start that company. Yes, everyone contributed, but it could not happen without one person's money, and that's Tony. And Tony does deserve that praise. I've never been to a television show where he goes out, but what does everybody who ever goes to the building tells us? Tony comes out there and thanks the fans. I don't know if they chant Tony, but that's definitely a spot where you put over your boss because Cody can recommend you. So could the Young Bucks. So can Kenny Omega, but they don't sign those contracts and they're not paying you. And that's a perfect example of getting the people to chant AEW or getting, if you want to go, me, I always go for the company or I go for, hey, let me put my boss over because the guy does get a lot of shit every single day. And, it's not really justified in the grand scheme of things. If you make a bad decision, cool. You also, on a 2 hour wrestling program, a single line is going to throw everybody a whack. And I understand it, but You did have some really, really good wrestling content. You also had some really, really good continuation of stories, and you're going to have one hell of a show come March 3rd.
There's no doubt. And you're right. I'm not going to judge the entire show based on that one line, but again, as you just said, Tommy, people are going to take that one line. And I know for myself, my jaw dropped. Like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I think what you just said was amazing, because the guy that really should have been mentioned, and I said Kenny Omega, Tony Khan's the perfect one. And listen, Tommy, I've been to plenty of AEW shows, and I think every AEW show that I've been to, Tony Khan comes out before the show starts and thanks the fans and puts the fans over and shows appreciation to the fans. And you're 100% right, Tommy, in the fact that Tony Khan gets a lot of shit. He gets a lot of criticism where nobody's giving him the praise that he deserves for taking a company just 5 years ago and making it something that we can enjoy 3 days a week. It's almost become, it's almost become kind of like a fun thing to do, is to rip Tony Khan. Now, some of it is justified because he is very busy on social media, and I think that's something that he's calmed down a little bit on. But man, if there was one person to put over, it could have been Tony Khan last night. Like, again, you had an opportunity to have an arena full of people chanting Sting's name or Tony Khan's name or Kenny Omega's name. The last thing you want to do is have them chanting Cody's name. Listen, right now, Tommy, Cody Rhodes is the trending name all over. I mean, that's the name that's on everyone's lips. That's the name that's on everyone's tongues. Everybody's talking about Cody Rhodes. We just saw The Rock getting Rocky Sucks chants because people are so invested in Cody Rhodes. The last thing you want to do is to have an opportunity where you have that bleed in to your show. And that's what they did last night. I mean, we could talk about how the AEW fan pushed Cody Rhodes out with booing Cody Rhodes at the end of his time with AEW. Now you're going to chant his name when he's no longer with your company? Now you're going to appreciate Cody Rhodes when he's no longer there? I just don't know why Darby Allin did that. And our producer Paul made a great point. The Young Bucks are outside that ring with Darby's blood on their suits. They're still wearing the suits with Darby's dried up blood. Like, I would think that that's something you would want to reference over Cody Rhodes. I just don't understand why you would do it. And Tommy, you're 100% right. ECW was that underdog company that hated everybody. So you would point the finger at WCW and you would point the finger at the WWF, but the fans were 100% behind you. They weren't having any of that shit. They wanted an alternative from those two products. So there was no chant you were going to hear other than ECW. Nobody would dare chant a wrestler's name that wasn't a part of that company. And I'm sure everybody that was a part of that company would run through a wall for ECW, would run through a fucking wall. That's what AEW needs right now. Listen, there's always going to be ups and downs. Right now, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm saying, all right, who's on board, who's not? Because we want to take this company to the next level. Who wants to do it with me? They got to stop referencing the WWE. You mentioned it about too with Buddy Matthews, and then you're getting Dominic Mysterio trending and Rhea Ripley trending because of something that's said on an AEW product. That's the last thing you want to do. You want everybody to be focused and concentrated on AEW and nothing else. Like, I hope there was somebody in the back that addressed Darby Allin when that promo was over and he went to the back. I would be like, if I was an AEW employee or if I was an AEW wrestler, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You just got an arena full of people chanting Cody Rhodes' name. Why the fuck would you do that? Have them chant somebody who's a part of this company. And I bet you if Cody was here, he would say the same thing.
The art of a promo. Again, this is, you break things down into while they're happening. The run-in, what are you doing? I'm clearing the ring with a baseball bat. I'm going to be fired up. I'm going to grab that microphone. I'm coming to the aid of a beloved announcer. I'm going to grab the microphone and I'm going to spit some fire. That promo is as important when you break down a match.
Yep.
What is my end point? Okay, I'm going to give you guys that match that you guys want. But the words that I say will talk you in. And when I talk you in to get that, I understand that, you guys are EVPs, you guys are using, your own muscle. That one line that if all he had to do was change and put it on the company or put it on the boss is a game changer for that promo. It's something that everyone could rally behind and continue. So, because if you have the evil EVPs, yes, they did hire people. Yes, they do. Again, this is on camera. Um, you can, there is no, the NWO was different because at the time the business needed it. There is no where the company held me down, the glass ceiling, all that stuff is so outdated. Because if you have a microphone and you're talking about it, guess what? You're now getting that opportunity.
Yep.
So you have to think smarter. And that could have been like a game changer, like a hard times promo. And, the EVPs trying to destroy their own company is not where the Young Bucks are going because they are too smart for that. Because again, that's an angle where unless it's Tony Khan going to fight that battle, no, because why would you want to destroy the company that you currently work for? Just like the evil GM doesn't work anymore. You have to be smarter, Booker. You also have to be smarter in a promo. It's a littlest thing, but like that, like I said, one little word would have changed that whole thing to get people, chanting ECW. I straight up pile drive Beulah, roll out, hit my pose. I'm full of this energy. I roll out. I jump in the crowd because that crowd was always mixed on me. And amongst the people, I look around and I look at everyone and I just start chanting ECW, throwing my fist just like everyone, and it played forever. And thankfully, I had a boss that recognized that that was a moment. And when I came through that curtain, I said, like, Paul was like, "You're over. That's it. You're done." Like, there's nothing else that could happen. Those are moments for talents to embrace. There's so many different times, like when you win titles, remember Mick Foley's victory lap. That was such a beautiful moment. And if you really think about it, it changed the course of the business. And those are things that you can get it where, I'm an AEW person, I'm an AEW supporter, and I'm proud of it. Simplest little things.
Yeah, and you're the perfect example, Tommy, because I was an ECW fan back in the day, and at the beginning, I wasn't a fan of Tommy Dreamer. I looked at Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Dreamer was the guy that I hated in high school. You were that quintessential, like, I don't know what Guido. You're a Guido. You were that guy in high school.
Guido jock.
Yeah, you
and
were.
I stole
you
your
were
girlfriend. I would bang them all.
Yes.
All
Yes.
your girls, David. I took them all.
For better or for worse. But what did you
now
do?
Now they all say, "What regret? Look at him."
but look what you were able to do. So Tommy, when you had the opportunity, whether it was with physicality or whether it was on the microphone, you had to choose your words very carefully. Like when you were cutting a promo, all right, how do I get these fans to side with me? How do I get them to believe in me? How do I get them to emotionally connect with me? So every time you had that opportunity, I'm sure, Tommy, that's what was in your brain. That's what you were thinking. I got to get these fans on my side because right now they don't like me. How do I get them to like me? And at the same time, believe in this company, believe in ECW. And you were able to do that. You were able to probably do that better than anybody has been ever able to do that. You were able to do that. I feel like with AEW right now, they're grabbing the low-hanging fruit where it's like you got to go deeper. you got to really emotionally connect with your audience. So like you said, Tommy, that they're chanting Tony's name. I mean, imagine how good Tony Khan would have felt last night with all the shit that he's had to go through if he heard thousands of people chanting his name as opposed to somebody he let go. I mean, there was even a reference in that to like CM Punk, the whole all friendship wrestling. That's alluding to like what CM Punk said and what Jim Cornette says on his show. Again, the people who are against your company, you are leaning into the hate that people have for this company instead of embracing the good things about AEW. Like I listen, and I would love to hear from fans, Tommy, that love that promo. Like if I had to grade that promo, I'd give it an F. To me, that promo last night was a failure because that you had the potential for that to be an A. You had the potential to put somebody over. You had the potential to put your company over. And instead, you let it slip through your fingers and you had an arena full of people chanting Cody. To me, Darby Allin failed in that promo last night.
I wouldn't say he failed. I would just say he didn't maximize, or it's one of those what could have been. Darby is an emotional person. He, again, telling the truth. And there's different ways to go about it, talking about the revolution and change because the industry needed it. Now, when the industry really doesn't need it because people like WWE, you go the other route. Put what Darby Allin does, and because the fans love Darby, put what Darby Allin does. You know what part of the revolution? You know why? I would say it all the time, like about when to the naysayers, about our style or all that stuff. You know why? Because they couldn't hang. Or I would say something like, you know why I go out there and risk it all or break my body down for them. And they're the part of the revolution. Without them, there is no revolution. And you know what? Without you, we don't need this current crap that's going on between you guys. You want that match, you got it, and we're going to end you at Revolution. Done. Boom. Yay. Showtime.